Alright, so I'm going to do a bunch of lens testing today. You saw the intro. I've been on this lens journey, and I have all of these. I bought like every Fuji lens, not really, but I bought many of the Fuji lenses, both old and new, meaning, you know, the ones that are rated for 40 megapixels and the ones that are not. So I'm going to do both camera differences and lens differences. So I have the so I'm going to do the 23 millimeter. So I have the old 23-1.4. I probably can't see it. The lighting's terrible. Old 23-1.4, and then the new the 23-2. This is the 40 megapixel. This is not. This is the 16 millimeter new f2.8 40 megapixel, and this is the old 16-1.4 that is technically not rated for 40 megapixels. Interestingly enough, 18 millimeter, the new 18-1.4, the 40 megapixel, and the new 33-1.4, again 40 megapixel. So for these guys, I'm gonna test them against the camera, right? So I'm going to take the shots with this on the X-H2 40 megapixel and then the X-S20 26 and do the same here. So, you know, we'll see if you see any real differences between the two cameras, the 40 and the 26. What I think we're going to see is the same thing that everybody else is kind of showing. There is very little difference. The only differences I think we're going to see is in, you know, some pixel peeping. When you get in that 200% or 150% or whatever, you're gonna see some minor differences, and but that's it. So we're gonna see that these are all amazing lenses, and I think we will see that there are some differences when, you know, using the 40 megapixel versus the not, but all of it will be not at a level that matters for regular photography. But if you're watching this, you're like me, you're probably, you know, obsessive compulsive control freak, or perfectionist rather, maybe is the better term. And, you know, this is all we obsess over, is the perfectionism, right? I know that I might be able to get an extra pixel out of this than this. You know, whatever. It's fun, it's a distraction. Okay, so we're just going to tick through as fast as we can. We're starting with the 23 old and new. On the left is the 1.4 and on the right is the new f2. I'm not seeing any difference. Maybe a little contrast difference in the f2. So just depends, you know, which one of these is more pleasing. They both look fantastic to me. Let's go 100%. Do we see at 100%, are we seeing any difference in resolution? I'm not. You know, maybe there's a little more clarity here, but I don't really see, I see no difference. If we go, yeah, I mean, they're both shot at the exact same ISO, exposure, everything. There's a little more contrast in the new lens. Let's do 23 old and new. Now this is at f5.6, so sort of, you know, the sweet spot for clarity to me, you know, I guess. So again, exact same exposure. On the left is the old 1.4, on the right is the new. Again, I see ever so slight difference in kind of contrast, a little more contrast on the new lens, a little more info here in the shadow on the old, just rendered ever so slightly different. I prefer actually the rendering on the old lens. But they're both beautiful. I mean, I would take, you know, I use both of these all day long. So let's look here at 100% with the f5.6. Interestingly, the field of view is slightly different on these lenses. They're both 23, but the field of view is slightly different, and we're going to see that through everything. So the field of view on these lenses and cameras is not identical because the camera itself is not moving. All of this is shot on the X-H2. I don't see any difference in resolution. This is, you know, the new lens. So 40 megapixel approved versus the old 1.4. At 100%, I see no difference in resolution here, which is kind of middle of the frame-ish where I'm focusing. If we peek over here to the flowers, look at the clarity on that. The same to me, right? I see no sort of difference in clarity or resolution between the old lens on the left and the new lens on the right. So that's at 5.6, both lenses. Even at 100%, I see no perceptible difference in resolution between those two lenses. Okay, next up. Okay, so that's the 23. Tested at both essentially wide open, and then at like 5.6, at least in these shots with this lighting, I see no difference. At 100%, no perceptible difference. Next up is 16 millimeters, so old and new. Okay, so again, I'm doing the same thing, one shot wide open, one shot at like 5.6. So this on the left is the old 16-1.6, and on the right is the new. Similar, I see a little more contrast maybe in the new f2.8-16. So, you know, maybe that's done on purpose. They both look awesome. I mean, they're just beautiful photographs, right? I mean, I just, you know, I love my Fuji cameras and whatnot, but they're awesome. The one on the right is, the old 16-1 is reading a little warmer to me, but maybe ever so slightly a little less contrast. Either way, at 100%, they're kind of like imperceptible. I mean, at regular viewing, they're kind of imperceptible in terms of differences. Let's go to 100%. 100% again, I'm focusing on the bottle. Now here, something's going on here with this. On the 23s, I couldn't see any difference in resolution or clarity at 100% zoomed on the bottle. And maybe it seemed maybe this one did have an edge, but barely perceptible. I think one of two things is happening. I've either missed focus ever so slightly, because, you know, you see at 100% the clarity on the old 1.4, it's just awesome. But this lens is not wide open, because I'm matching apples to apples. This only goes to f2.8, so I'm limiting this to 2.8. This guy's wide open, and this guy is not. Either that's what we're seeing, because like the old 1.4 is clearly showing higher clarity here than the new one, or I've somehow just kind of missed focus. I don't think I've missed focus, but maybe I ever so slightly did. You know, this guy is just super razor sharp. It feels like I didn't really miss focus, but I don't know. If anything, then on this guy, at least at 2.8, you're getting better. If I had stopped this all the way down to 1.4, would we be looking at the same? Hard to know, and I can't go back and redo it. I'm just not going to do it. But zooming back out to regular size, both images are beautiful. It's hard to see any difference. And if anything, I think what you're seeing is that maybe this one wide open is, you know, a little less clear than this one when you're stopping down. Let's go to the 5.6. Okay, so old and new at 5.6. Old on the left, new on the right. Again, this one's reading a little warmer to me, maybe, but both stellar. I'm focusing over here on the shadow area, again, specifically kind of challenging lighting. Let's go to 100%, and then 100% over here. You know, you can see Charlie just hanging out, taking a nap. I don't see any difference in sort of clarity or resolution. So old and new, 5.6, and this lighting and setup, I don't really see any difference in resolution. If anything, it feels like maybe the old lens is rendering higher resolution, at least through here. If we look at the plant, again, you know what? Honestly, to me, if anything, and maybe it is revealing sort of these individual copies or just the more sophisticated optics in the larger lens, I actually feel like the plant is a little sharper over on that region of the, you know, lens, field of view. But, you know, I don't know. Clearly, I'm not getting anything extra out of the new one over in this region of the lens. I will say here, this is where maybe the sweet spot in the new lens. I will say, like, if you look at Charlie's face there and this cushion, there's arguably a little higher resolution, a little more detail right through this section of sort of the frame. But again, we're at like 100%. What if we go to 200%? You know, it's like, yeah, there's maybe a little more detail and resolution through this region of the frame. But taking these back out to normal, there's nothing there, right? At normal viewing, if you printed these in a 36-inch sort of poster and you stared at Charlie's nose, yeah, maybe you're seeing a few extra pixels in that region. But if you focus in on the plant region, I don't think you are seeing any additional resolution in that region of the field of view. Okay, that's the 16. Okay, next I'm switching gears. Now the test is for the new, now I'm really testing the cameras. So I've got the new 33-1.4 and the 18-1.4, which I'm filming on. So I'm taking those brand new, 33-1.4 and 18-1.4 40 megapixel lenses, and now I'm going to test the cameras. Do I see anything different on the X-H2 versus the X-S20? I'm surprised at what I'm seeing. Maybe you guys will be too. I mean, the bottom line, I can't tell any differences, at least in these shots under these conditions. Okay, this is the 18-1.4 wide open, the X-H2 on the left, X-S20 on the right. One thing I will say is I forgot to set my white balance manually. So I think, the two cameras I think are rendering white balance a little different. So, I kind of blew it there because it's the exact same lens. But either way, the only difference I see at like regular is, the X-H2 is a little less warm. The X-S20 is rendering this a little warmer, and maybe that's just sort of the white balance. Who knows? Both great. Let's go to 100% wide open. I kind of blew this one too. I moved the wine bottle, so sorry, my scientific accuracy of the test is breaking down a little bit. But I mean, at 100%, this is the X-S20, looks amazing. This is the X-H2. Can I continue to sort of zoom in on this X-H2? I probably can. I know there's more resolution there, but my point is, in regular viewing, you're not feeling it or seeing a difference between the 26 and the 40, at least in this shot. Okay, let's go to now the 18 on f5.6. Okay, so X-H2 is on the left, X-S20 is on the right. Again, maybe the X-S20 is rendering a little more contrast and a little warmer. And you'll notice if you're really paying attention, the ISO is different and the exposure is different because the X-H2, the base ISO will go lower. I'm at 125. The lowest the X-S20 will go is 160. So it's different cameras, slightly different ISO and exposures, right? But okay, here's f5.6 again. I'm focusing over here. Let's go 100 at regular viewing. They're great. Here's I'm focusing over here. I don't really see any difference in resolution at 100%. I really don't. Let's, even pixel peeping at the cushion. I don't know. Okay, maybe if you kind of look at the hairs here and the cushion pattern, maybe you're seeing a little more at in the X-H2 versus the X-S20. And this is, I think, the whole point, is the differences that you see in these sensors is only perceptible in sort of unnatural viewing conditions. If I go to 200%, yeah, there's maybe a few extra, maybe you're seeing a little extra resolution in the cushions and in the hairs. But and then if we look over here at the plant, I'm going to take it back to 100%. 100%. I don't see any difference in the plant. None. I see no difference in sort of clear. If anything, the X-S20 almost looks like it's a little higher detail over in this section. But, you know, so, okay. I think point proven that with the 18 millimeter 1.4 X-H2 X-S20, it's hard to see any difference. Even at 100%, it's just hard to see any difference with these shots in this scenario. Okay, lastly, the 33 millimeter. Okay, so X-H2, X-S20, at 100%, they're both, you know, it's just awesome. Shadow is a little I think I moved the wine bottle again, so shame on me. But this is wide open. Let's, you know, here's the X-S20 wide open on the X-H2. Oh yeah, interesting. Well, again, maybe I slightly blew the focus over here on the, I think I somehow got the top. So, I guess we'll have to kind of throw that one out. But, yeah, I think I blew the focus a little bit. Look at the detail on the X-S20, though, 100%. It's beautiful. I mean, you know, crazy clarity. That's crazy clarity too. So I'm going to say both really good. And the AB on that one is kind of a little blown. But again, normal viewing, indistinguishable to me. Okay, let's do then the 33 millimeter at f/5.6. Okay, left is X-H2, right is X-S20. You see the shadows are really kind of, you know, taking over here. I don't know. Just looking at it regular, the rendering on the X-H2 is a little more pleasant to me on this particular one versus the X-S20. But no difference in the plant, no difference in the detail in the shadow over here to me. Let's do 100%. Here's my X-S20. Here is the X-H2. Are we seeing any difference? I see no difference in clarity or detail. What if we run over here and look at the plant? Again, you can see it's the exact same lens, but the sensors, the field of view is slightly different. The camera hasn't moved, and it's the exact same lens. The sensor's field of view is a little different on the X-S20. I don't see any differences here. Is there anywhere where, you know, okay, maybe on the X-H2, maybe in this little section here, there's a little higher detail than here. Arguably, but it, you know, again, it's just illustrating. These are theoretical differences. Maybe in spots you're kind of getting the 40 megapixel benefit. So zooming back out, I don't see differences. So I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, and I know this will end up being a relatively long video. So to kind of wrap that up, you know, I'm sure my tests are a little imperfect. I kind of blew the focus there on one or two of the bottles, but I think the takeaway is you've got all these lenses, and you've got the new camera, the 40 megapixel camera versus the old 26 megapixel sensor. All of the differences are so slight that I don't think you can go wrong with any of these choices. This is literally just an exercise in obsessive compulsive pixel peeping, right? The reality is any of these cameras and any of these lenses are only going to be limited by what you're capable of doing and what you can be lucky enough to show up at the right time in the right place to capture. I will say there are times, and in my sort of real life taking photos, I'm certainly not going to sell my X-H2. I like that extra resolution. And sort of different shots, different lighting, different subjects. I really do feel like I'm getting some bang for my buck out of that extra resolution. This is demonstrating that it's hard to even perceive those differences, but I do feel like sometimes in some shots I'm getting some benefit out of it, and it's allowing me some flexibility to crop. So in conclusion, if you're still watching, thank you. You're obviously interested in all of this as well. So thanks for watching. The conclusion is all of this gear, all of these cameras are awesome. You can't go wrong. Pursue, what's in your budget and whether you need to go small or not. And all of these items are going to render photography up to, your own ability and what you're lucky enough to kind of run into. So thanks for watching.